So you want to multi-class in Baldur's Gate. So you want to multi-class in Baldur's Gate 3. So this is going to be a guide for spellcasting multi-class. So if you're playing a spellcaster class and you are planning on multi-classing into another spellcasting class, we're going to be going through the rules and how it works so that you can plan ahead and make sure that you optimize your choices. Before we begin, we should get a disclaimer here that not all information about multiclassing has been revealed yet. However, we have gotten some clues from the lead systems designer in Larian, talking about how they do not want to discourage multiclassing. They don't want to discourage multiclassing. So they're gonna bend the rules a little bit so that, let's say, a level 4 sorcerer and 1 level cleric will still get access to Fireball, which is a level 3 spell on level 5. Usually this would not be the case, so we're going to talk about how it usually works and then add some speculation about how it's going to work. And if it doesn't come out in that way when the game fully releases in 2 weeks, I'll revise this video with some comments below. I'll add a comment below noting the differences. All right, so how does it work? All right, so there's a variety of caster classes. Right now, D&D and Baldur's Gate 3 break them down into the following categories. So we have the non-caster classes, which are fighters, barbarians, rogues, and monks. There's the Eldritch Knight Fighter and the Arcane Trickster Rogue that count as a third class caster. And there is a chance that maybe they will add the Way of the Elements Monk in the third caster classes, but that's not confirmed, it's just speculation. Then we have the half caster classes. I'll explain what this means, half caster and third caster, in a minute. So we have the half caster classes, which are Paladin and Ranger. And then we have the full caster classes, which are Wizard, Sorcerer, Cleric, and Druid. Additionally, we have Pact Magic, which is the Warlock spellcasting unique section. So let's go through an example of what that means. So, first example, if I am a full caster, 3 levels cleric, and also a full caster, not cluster, 3 levels of wizard, I can add my levels together since they are both full caster classes. Now let's take a second example where we have 3 levels of paladin, which is a half caster class, and 3 levels of wizard. In that case, I will get 3 levels of caster from my wizard, and since the paladin is a half caster, it's going to be 3/2 rounded down level of caster. So if we look at the multi-class spellcaster spell slot table, I'm going to be considered a 4th level caster on the table. So I will have 4 first level spell slots and 3 second level spell slots. Essentially, your caster level determines the amount of spell slots that you have. So a 3 level cleric, 3 level wizard will have will be considered a 6th level caster, and he will also have 3 third level spell slots more than a 3 level wizard, 3 level paladin. This is actually quite a big difference. You're still going to be considered a level 3 character, a level 6 character. So your proficiency and HP and everything else is going to be regularly. However, your spellcasting level is going to be lowered, and that actually does impact the game a lot. Larian has said in their interview that when you go full caster, they don't want you to miss out on the big spells. However, since we can always respect, don't feel afraid to try things and experiment a little bit. So Let's go through another example, just so that we get an even bigger picture of how Warlock works. So, in the previous case where we were talking about half casters, a third caster, you would divide your level in that class by 3. So, if you were a level 6 arcane trickster and a level 3 wizard, you would be considered as a level 5 caster, because it's going to be 3 full caster, so it's 3 times 1. And then you would add 6 levels of arcane trickster over 3. So it would be 3 plus 2, 5. Even though you are an 9 level character. So you would have access to 4 first level spell slots, 3 second level spell slots, and 2 third level spell slots. So you can already see that you are losing a lot of power if you're multiclassing to the half and third level casters. So, how does pact magic work? So, pact magic works differently. You don't get to combine the levels together. You get the levels individually for your spellcasting class. So, if I'm 3 levels of wizard and 3 levels of warlock, I will get 3 levels of wizard, and then I will get 3 levels of warlock caster. So it's 3 levels of normal spell casting and 3 levels of pact magic. 3 levels of pact magic, which, if we look at the pact magic table for warlocks, that would give us 2 level 2 spell slots. And then we'd also have the level 3, so we would have 4 first level spell slots, 2 second level spell slots from the wizard, and then we would also get 2 level 2 spell slots from the warlock. Those warlock spell slots would recover on every short rest. So it would be a slightly different way to build your character. If you're not certain on how to multiclass into Warlock, I'll be making a video on that later on. Usually, when you're multiclassing a Spellcaster with a Warlock, you need to have a specific target. So you would want to maybe take 2 levels of Warlock, or 1 to 3 levels of Warlock, and then go full caster, or you want to take 1 or 2 levels in a different spellcasting class for a specific spell, and then you continue as Warlock. Yeah. Additionally, I should mention that your level in each class, by 5e rules, D&D 5e rules, depends directly on your class spell level. So a level 3 wizard would barely just get access to level 2 spells, and a level 5 wizard would get access to level 5 spells. As you can see on the wizard table, essentially the wizard, every odd numbered level, gets access to a higher spell slot and therefore can know spells of a higher level. So a level 3 wizard would normally get access to level 2 spells. However, Larian mentioned that they will try to bend the rules to allow multiclassing to give you the spell options from the highest combination of the 2 classes. So your spellcaster level determines the amount of spell slots that you have for the specific class. So again, multi-class and class. So a level 5 wizard, a level 3 wizard, level 3 cleric would actually get 3rd level slots in D&D, but they wouldn't have 3rd level spells. However, Larian said that they want to give 3rd level spells, even though the fact that you're going to be multiclassing. So if you have 3 levels of cleric and 3 levels of wizard, they want to give you the options to have 3rd level spells. I'm not certain how they're going to do that, and it might be overpowered, but keep that in mind, and we'll see how Larian. Additionally, apart from how the caster level is created, you should keep in mind that different classes have a different spellcasting ability. What is spellcasting ability? Spellcasting ability is what is used by the game mechanics to determine whether your spell hits or is resisted. So wizards, for example, if you try to use a wizard spell that forces a saving throw on an enemy, that is based by, let's say, that is, if you're casting a wizard spell, that is based on 8, which is just an arbitrary number set by Wizards of the Coast that made the game, plus your proficiency modifier, plus your spellcasting ability modifier. So a wizard with 20 intelligence gets to add 8 plus 5 plus his proficiency, which changes according to his level. So a level 3 wizard would get plus 2. So that would be 15 to save. So the enemy would get to roll a d20 and add their saving throw against whatever the spell is targeting. If it's Fireball or Burning Hands, it would be Dexterity. So they add their Dexterity saving throw and whatever they roll. So that's actually quite important, because if you're multiclassing between a wizard, which uses intelligence, and a sorcerer, which uses charisma, you would have to spread your ability points on both intelligence and charisma. And you know that we have a limited amount of those, and we don't want to waste them in ways that don't synergize very well. So if you're planning, for example, so let me just give you really quick the ability modifiers for each class. So wizards are on intelligence, eldritch knights are on intelligence, and arcane tricksters. So arcane tricksters are rogues, eldritch knights are fighters. They are third casters. We mentioned them earlier. Charisma is for sorcerers, warlocks, and paladins. And wisdom is for druids, clerics, rangers, and monks. We are still not certain about the monks, but I'm mentioning it just in case. So let's say that you multiclass into 3 levels of wizard and 3 levels of cleric. If you use a cleric spell, if you have 20 intelligence as a wizard, but you have 8 wisdom, your wizard spells are going to be much stronger and much more likely to hit than your cleric spells. So if you're planning on doing that, you should be picking spells from the cleric class that do not require a saving throw or a to hit. So anything that doesn't basically use your... So you can just pick buffs like Bless or Raise Dead, etc. Well, not actually Revivify. That could be a spell that you could pick. Something that deals consistently damage, or something that is... It just gives you a bonus, basically like Enhance Ability. That also works the other way around. So just quickly... so as we just said, there is a difficulty check, a spell DC, when you force a saving throw. And there's also a spell to hit. So if I'm throwing a fire bolt, that's a to hit. That adds a to hit to the roll. If I'm throwing a fire ball, that is a dexterity saving throw, which requires a spell save DC. A spell save from the enemy, essentially. So let's just quickly go through some math, just in case you guys want to be interested. You can also skip below if you don't want to see the math. But if you're throwing a firebolt and you have 8 intelligence, you will get to add on the roll your proficiency modifier. Okay, so as a 6th level character, which is 3 levels cleric and 3 levels wizard, you get to add your proficiency modifier and your spellcasting ability bonus modifier. So if you're a level 6 wizard, that would be a +3, the proficiency bonus. And if your intelligence is 8, you would actually get a negative buff to your spell. So it would be +2 to hit. So that means whatever you roll, you add +2. So if you're attacking an enemy with an armor class of 15, you would hit about 40% of the time. Expected to hit 40% of the time. However, if you have 16 wisdom and you try to use another spell to hit, like Guiding Bolt, you would get to add +3 and from your proficiency bonus, and +3 from your wisdom modifier, because the modifier goes up every 2 points you add in the ability check. So an enemy with 15 AC, you would hit them 55% of the time. So we already see that it makes a big difference. You would mostly hit versus you would mostly miss. Also, some spells get to add the proficiency, not the proficiency, the spellcasting ability modifier to the damage. And there may be ways to do that in game, so that's something else we should be noting. Okay, so spell DC, we've mentioned how it's calculated. It's 8 plus spellcasting ability modifier plus your proficiency. So again, let's go with, let's say you're playing a light cleric and a evoker wizard, which are both classes that get fireball. With an 8 intelligence and 16 wisdom, your DC for the wizard would be 10, but your DC for the cleric would be 14. So that means that if you cast fireball as an 8 intelligence wizard, the enemy would have 65% to save if they just had +3 on their dexterity save. And if you are attacking as a wisdom cleric, the enemy would have 45% to save. So again, mostly miss versus mostly hit. And the higher they add, the more likely it is for them to succeed. So let's say we are throwing a fireball at a rogue that has a proficiency in the saving throw, which would probably be +6, and it would be even lower for you to hit, even lower for you to do maximum damage. Okay, so this is pretty much the gist of the spellcasting focus. Just keep in mind that Larian has mentioned again that that they will be bending the rules as to allow you to multi-class and not miss out on the big spells. So it might actually be really strong if you could be 4 levels of sorcerer and 1 level of cleric, and you still have access to the power spikes of level 5 fireball. If that's the case, I think it might be more optimal for you to multi-class into a lot of classes, into a lot of spellcasting classes, because you would get access to more spells and you would still get the big spells. So we'll have to wait and see, and I'm also going to be creating builds and guides in the future. Just keep in mind that there might be items in the game or abilities like the minor spoiler alert here. 1 to 3 seconds for you to skip. Excuse me. So in the scenario, there's going to be spell tadpole abilities. I don't know what those are yet, but you're going to be able to build on them. So those abilities might actually come into some very strong combinations and complement some sort of multi-class method, because they did mention that they're actually thinking about multi-classing when they're making some items and abilities. And also there might be some items that are going to be really strong in multi-classing. So we'd have to wait and see on those. But again, this is a spellcasting guide. Thank you for watching. And we're going to be making a full multi-class guide after this video. Please drop a like. Thank you for watching. Subscribing helps a lot. Commenting even better. Again, thank you for watching and have a great. Bye.